The man calmly surveyed the scene. 4 bodies were arranged radially around the altar. As an inspector of the major crime team, he has seen more bloody scenes, but he knew that the disgusting smell of incense candles in this apartment was detonating the trauma he had suppressed for 20 years, and the cult leader he was about to face is the source of all his fears. Inspector Chen Yue received a report and rushed to the high-end apartment. The scene was extremely bizarre. The 4 corpses were twisted in death. Surrounded by a makeshift altar, the altar was filled with incongruous idols and talismans. The smell of corpse and incense candles filled the entire space with depression. Assistant Dai Biao judged that the victims had been dead for over 24 hours. The scene looked like some kind of cult ceremony. Chen Yue was a firm materialist. He snorted at it. He thought it was just a murder by feigning ghosts. But soon, a policewoman found the 5th victim in the inner room, the daughter of the family, Jen. She was still breathing, but she was in a state of madness and coma. Chen Yu's eyes was attracted by a pair of scissors tied with red rope. This witchcraft-like arrangement gave the case a supernatural shadow. The clue was interrupted. Da Biao suggested asking Chiu, the shaman in the police station. This shaman, Chiu, is really Huang Daxian. He was a legend in the major crime unit, known as the hero of the homicide team, but due to an incident many years ago, he changed his temperament and turned to study metaphysics, and became a psychic consultant for the police. Chen Yue was reluctant, but in order to solve the case, he had to take the photo to him. Huang glanced at it, and his expression became serious. He accurately pointed out, "This is the 5-ghost heavenly beast in my Shan Taoism, a sorcery that exchanges money for longevity." But this time, the lifespan was not exchanged, but it turned into a curse. He concluded that the presiding Taoist priest had cheated the family of the 700,000 cash, and then killed them. As for the scissors on the wall, were just used by the hostess to prevent her husband from cheating. It's a divination technique. It has nothing to do with the murder. Huang Daxian's inference was quickly confirmed, but his attention was not on the case. He stared at Chen Yu's face, suddenly asked for his birthday, saying he would draw talismans to ward off evil spirits. Chen Yue scoffed at it, and turned to leave. But he didn't know that Huang Daxian looked at his back, with fear in his eyes. He retrieved Chen Yu's file. When he saw the photos of Chen Yu's parents, a 20-year-old bloody memory was suddenly opened. It turned out that when Chen Yue was 5 years old, his mother was brainwashed by a cult leader named Lin Yuexian. On a rainy night, her eyes were fanatical, killed her husband with her own hands, then put the knife on the young Chen Yu's neck. At the critical moment, it was Huang Daxian who shot and killed Chen Yu's mother, saving him. And the cult leader Lin Yuexian, before being imprisoned, he issued a vicious curse on Huang Daxian. Now a similar case has reappeared, as if it was a reincarnation of fate. The hospital reported that the survivor Zhen died of a burst blood vessel. In extreme fear, the forensic doctor detected hallucinogens in her body. The clue pointed to an organization called True God Truth. Jin Moyin, a friend of Ajun, volunteered to avenge her sister. As a police informant, she infiltrated the church through its key members on the pulpit of the church. The current leader Huang Wei is preaching. He has an elegant temperament, and his words are highly inflammatory. He preaches the end of the world, and believers drink his holy blood. They can become sheep and go to heaven, otherwise they will be goats and fall into hell. He even performed miracles in public. His arm produced blood out of thin air, letting the believers suck and drink it. Jin Moyin thought she was strong-willed, but in a closed environment, the fanatical atmosphere and the effect of hallucinogens, his defense began to loosen. Huang Wei used her eyes, that seemed to see through hearts, gently revealed her secret trauma of being violated. Jin Moyin's psychological defense completely collapsed. That night, she voluntarily entered Huang Wei's secret room. In a ritualistic pleasure, she became a plaything of the cult. Chen Yue couldn't contact Jin Moyin and sensed the danger. He led his team to break into the church, facing the police. Huang Wei was not panicked. When Chen Yue tried to search it forcibly, an eerie scene occurred. Huang Wei stared at him with his eyes. An invisible spiritual power instantly invaded Chen Yu's brain. Huang Wei's voice sounded in his head, revealing the deepest scar in his childhood. The fantasy of his mother with a knife reappeared. The determined inspector broke out in a cold sweat and retreated in embarrassment. He realized that Huang Wei was not just a liar. He had some kind of special ability, or extremely strong hypnosis. On the other hand, the tragedy of housewife A Huan is unfolding. She was brainwashed by the church, and constantly donated money to buy a ticket to heaven, and stole all the savings at home. Under her husband's questioning and church's pressure, she was mentally broken. In order to let her family go to heaven, she put poison in the soup. When Chen Yue led the team to rush in, he saw a perfect replication of his childhood nightmare. A Huan was holding a knife to hold her son hostage. Hysterically, Chen Yu's hand holding the gun was trembling. The woman in front of him overlapped with his mother. The gunshot fired. He knocked A Huan down, but before she fell to the ground, still cut her son's throat. The tragic death of the family completely broke Chen Yue. Huang Daxian saw that he was deeply controlled by Huang Yue's mental power. The one who can solve the problem is the one who caused it. He decided to take Chen Yue to meet the initiator, Ling Yuexian, who was in prison. After listening to Chen Yu's description, he sneered. He pointed out that Huang Yue was just a pawn under Ling Yuexian's guidance. Chen Yue found the key to fight back. When leaving, Lin Yuxian used his mind. He implanted a firewall in Chen Yu's subconscious to defend against Huang Yue's mental attack. On December 31, 1998, on the eve of the Last Judgment, Huang Yue was preparing for a collective suicide ritual. Chen Yue broke into the church alone. This time, he didn't draw his gun, but launched a psychological warfare. He publicly exposed Huang Yue's true colors. He was not a god at all, but just a child with autism, and was regarded as a monster by his parents for his special powers, and finally killed his parents and escaped. These words hit Huang Yue's Achilles heel. His eyes began to panic. The halo of his power instantly disappeared, and the believers began to stir. Meanwhile, Huang Daxian, in order to end everything, rushed into the jail and engaged in hand-to-hand combat, and strangled the source of this cult to death. In the church, Huang Yue, who was mentally broken, lost his special powers. He pounced on Chen Yue like a beast, but in front of the inspector of the major crime squad, he was just a loser. Chen Yue punched him down. The cult was completely destroyed. The clock struck midnight. The year 1999 arrived. The sun rose as usual. The end of the world did not come, but this victory was extremely bleak. Jin Mai Yun and Yun were rescued, but their eyes were empty and mentally ill. Huang Daxian was arrested for murder. Chen Yue looked at the devastated land, with only endless exhaustion on his face. The cult was destroyed, but the trauma it left in everyone's heart will never heal.